Good afternoon, everybody. Colin here with Techout, and today I want to go over some tips and tricks to maximize the battery life on your Galaxy Z Flip 3. Because if you picked up this device or you're about to pick one up, you know the battery is not the best because the battery is quite small in this at 3,300 milliamp hours. So I'm going to go over some of the tips and tricks that I found to maximize the battery life and get me some more time on the phone throughout the day. And one thing I'm going to mention is I'm not even going to talk about turning this little display off for the always on display, because I've run that for a few days and I found that the power usage on it is so minimal it really doesn't affect it. So if you like using your cover display and leaving it on always on, not really a big deal. So some of the things we're going to go over are things like screen brightness right here. I usually run mine about half or just over half. If you're in a pinch and you're trying to get every minute possible out of the battery, obviously lower that down. Another thing is to use a dark mode. The darker the display, the darker the things on the display, the less power it needs to display those. So obviously set that to a dark mode, again, if you're trying to squeeze out every minute you can. But some of the things we're going to talk about here are in our location settings. So right here under app permissions, sorry, not app permissions, right under here in improve accuracy, we're going to turn off Wi-Fi scanning and Bluetooth scanning. And what this is going to do is turn off using Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, constantly scanning around for other networks and Bluetooth devices and that kind of stuff, not in terms of using your Wi-Fi for internet or Bluetooth for connecting like your watch or headphones or anything like that. It just turns it off so apps can't use this to increase the location accuracy. If your app is using just like your general location and not your exact location, you won't really notice any difference. Obviously, if you have any issues with apps, you can turn that back on, but I haven't noticed it affect anything other than it increased my battery life just a little bit, but every little bit helps. Another thing we're going to do is go into the display settings here, and we're going to make sure that our screen timeout is set to something pretty low. If you sit your device down and you forget to turn the screen off, obviously that's going to run your battery down quite quickly. So if you're really forgetful, turn it on like something like 30 seconds or 15 seconds. I like to leave mine on 2 minutes because if I'm reading something on the screen, I'm not having to constantly interact with it to keep the screen on. But if I set my device down and walk away, it's only going to stay on for 2 minutes before the screen goes to sleep. Another thing that really helps with battery life is your motion rate. So if you don't care about the 60 or 120 hertz motion rate, go ahead and put it down on standard and it'll get you 60 hertz refresh rate and help save on battery life. If you're not really, too conservative on your battery life at the time, I do recommend the 120. It looks a lot better. But like I said, in a pinch, make sure you put that on 20 or 60, sorry. And then down here in battery and device care, if we hop into battery, if you want a quick way to optimize everything and put it in a low power mode, this power saving mode right here, you can set these toggles to what you want. And you can turn it on and it will limit the CPU, turn off the always on display, and decrease the brightness by 10% from what it's currently set at. To give you a little bit more battery life. You can also limit apps and home screen, so you can limit it to certain apps. It turns off edge panels and everything like that, turns off background activity, and turns it onto a dark theme, so your battery will last just a little bit longer. And then right here you can see what apps are using power, how much they've used, their active time, stuff like that. Our screen on time is 4 hours and 6 minutes. That's total unplugged time. It does not count that when the phone is plugged in. And you can see we're at 37%. So I am getting quite a little bit more. I was usually in the 3 hour range at about this time. So I can probably get, I'd say about 4.5 hours to 5 hours of screen on time with those settings that I showed you guys enabled. And the accuracy on the location settings really seems to improve everything. And a couple people in the forums have advised that as well, that has really helped them out on saving battery life on their Z Flip 3. I'm Colin with Techout. If you guys have any questions or other suggestions, feel free to drop them down in the comments section below. And as always, have a great day.